Hello everyone and welcome to episode 3 of the Four-Sided Roundtable. Today we're going to be talking about paranoia. Everyone has their own things that make them paranoid. That just, when it pops in your head, it kind of, I don't know, it makes you think a little bit differently.
You mean like the Jews?
Dom,
my God.
that's a different episode. You just weren't ready for this one. Anyway,
okay.
So my personal example, just to like get the conversation going.
Was mine not?
No, that wasn't the correct start.
Okay,
You've already ruined this.
We'll move
it's
on.
already downhill. Okay,
We'll move on.
Okay, let's just jump into this.
So
Okay,
let's go into head first. Brick wall.
Tom, please. Okay.
Manny's about to die.
Okay, we haven't even started. All
No,
right.
Okay. Do you?
Okay, so have you ever thought, like, you're sitting in a room, like in public maybe, or you're walking around anywhere. Have you ever thought that people can hear your own thoughts?
Oh, you just took my example.
Yeah.
Little children.
Like, I'll be, like, sitting in a classroom, and I'll be, like, thinking my own thoughts, and maybe it's, like, maybe something that's not appropriate. Not gonna say
So I'm like third grade. You look and she's wearing a tight blouse today. And your third grade mind just assumes the worst, and you say, what if Miss knows what I'm saying?
I don't even think my third grade mind was thinking about that.
I was in the same classroom as you, and my third grade mind was not there at all.
Anyway, so aside from what my actual thoughts were, I'd be like sitting there and like contemplating like who around me could be like listening in on what I'm thinking. And so I like try to like, you know, you like start like streamlining your thoughts. So like, okay, I'm not thinking about that. I'm like trying to block them out. But like, it's like this internal war that you're like, but like it isn't a thing that we know of.
I started trying to use like Morse code, but then halfway through I realized, wait, I don't know Morse code.
But it's like you're trying to like think, you're trying not to think of something, so you're like thinking of it anyway. So like they're still aware of it.
Because like it's like to acknowledge, to first hide something, you have to acknowledge.
Yeah, that you were actually thinking about
Yeah.
it. It's like if you're thinking like, oh, I wasn't thinking about her blouse, to use your example.
Then you're thinking about her blouse because you're thinking,
Yeah.
I better not think about her blouse.
Yeah, and I'll just be like sitting there, just like the struggle of like just sitting there and like I don't know what other people around me are thinking, but like I'm curious if people have that same feeling.
I'm like,
something.
what if there's like a base human ability to read other people? Like, what if we're a telepathic creature, you know? But you're just like, you're like mentally without that ability. So, but everyone's aware of it. They like on the first day of school, they look at you and they throw an idea in your
But
head.
they don't acknowledge it.
And they don't.
Like you're just not in on it.
And so, like, what if it's just like a polite thing to do? Like your parents, like their parents say, like, you know what? You're going to a different school now. You might meet those special kids that can't do it.
Oh my God.
And if you meet them, you can't acknowledge it because it's a bit
I've
shocking.
had the same thought. I'm saying oh my God because I've had the same thought in my head.
You know? And so it's like, I'm sitting there in 7th grade math class. I'm sweating because I have to fart. I'm like, do they know? Do they know how bad I'm fighting this? Is my sweat a read? Can they read my mind? So I have to just think about simple things. I'll look down and look at an eraser. There we are.
I have two things to add to that.
Add.
Okay, so one, my tactic against mind readers is simple, right? If my thoughts are really dumb, no one would want to read my mind. So
So is that why you are the way?
No. So
Dude, you're a really good actor.
whenever I think about it, whenever I think about like mind readers, I'm always like, "Hey, how are you doing?" Like I'm having an internal dialogue with myself.
I've had that, yeah.
Like I don't
To throw
really
'em
think
off?
about. Yeah.
Like so like what if it's something you have to focus on?
Or like you're
Like listening. Like it's like there's a lot of sound in the room, you have to listen in. So what you're doing is if they listen into you to hear, like, you know, like inane stuff.
it might throw them
Yeah.
off like, oh, they're acknowledging, they know I'm listening.
Oh
to
my
this.
gosh.
Like,
And then
you're
they'll tune
acknowledging
out,
it.
or
So
they'll
they're
find
just-
me.
No, worse, but what if they think you're talking to them? Like that what Ian just said.
Yeah.
Like what you just said, oh, what are you doing? How you doing?
Well,
Like,
they
what
know
if they
it's me.
think I know, but what if they think that's you sending it out to them?
I didn't think about it that way, but the way my mind like addressed it was the fact that like, okay, there's a guy, or a girl listening into my thoughts. If it was a girl, it would be really bad. But
I don't want to hear your
It's
examples.
I don't know.
kind of hot.
But it would be like, hey, how you doing? Like, nice day we're having today. Like, just common conversation things, and like, hopefully, I have a good enough dialogue in my head that they'll be like talking to me in real life. You know, like maybe I'm that good of a conversationalist. I think in the optimistic point of view.
Do you think it would be better or worse to speak to someone telepathically?
But you mean
It's different.
assuming that this is a thing?
Yeah.
You mean like just being able to, or if we're talking about this paranoia thing and like someone tries to listen in and you acknowledge them, or like what's the base?
The former. Where
Yeah.
like assuming this is a thing. Do you think it'd be better to speak with your words or just literally just use your brain?
I feel like it would be
Very-
quicker with Blaine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like
And then you wouldn't have to worry about anyone else like hearing
it's
you.
think of it like you know people say like, oh, you have a big mouth.
Yeah.
Like, what is having a big mouth? It's like what you're saying, the whole thing of your thought, without that mental, that verbal filter. You know,
Yeah.
like let's say a girl says, "Hey, do you know my friend Stacy?" And you say, "Stacy, fat ass, big butt, big butt, pretty face, ugly dresser." She hears all of that. That's your brain. But if you say it, you get all of that.
Yeah.
You just say, "Oh yeah, I know Stacy."
The thing that's like really makes it like a paranoia for me is the fact that like if this is true, that they're not acknowledging it.
Yeah.
Like oh, they know what you're thinking, but they don't say anything.
Because in that way, the judgments they've made, it's just like it's subtle. You know, it's like they're not gonna treat you any differently,
Yeah.
or if they do treat you differently, it's like they already know. So it's like it's almost like a Big Brother type of thing. You know, it's like you don't know how private we are. You don't know what's private in our lives. Cause like I like to think to a degree when you're by yourself in your room, you're gonna sort of act and be as you're gonna be comfortable.
Mhm.
And to a degree in public, even if you can't act that way, you could sort of have that mental freedom. So that it's like in the case of like Big Brother 1984, they had those cameras in their room that let the government see what people were doing all the time. So it's like that. It's like being that open with anyone. It's kind of crazy.
It's also like, does freedom even exist at that point if people know your thoughts?
Yeah.
Like
So is
freedom
it
of thought.
How would it not be freedom?
Well, if people can listen in.
Oh yeah, you mean like
Yeah.
you're gonna be afraid. You're like you could be policed by your thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the way I feel like this is the second thing that I want to talk about. Like with mind reading, this is turning into the mind reading podcast. I feel like it already exists in certain ways in real life, like things like body language, like tone of voice, stuff like that. That's like it's not. Tone is verbal, but body language isn't. That you could like people who are good at reading body language can really understand people's feelings. Therefore, like it's not thought reading, but like it's
getting into like the subconscious where you don't have to say something to express it.
So it does exist
And it's
in a certain way.
It's like my girlfriend and I.
Mhm.
I could tell if she's not neutral from just her texting.
Yeah.
Like when she texts me, I could understand almost her emotional state.
Yeah, there's certain tells that everyone has.
Yeah.
The poker players use it all the time. Those are non-verbal cues that like you just pick up on. That in a sense is kind of like mind reading.
Hmm.
But,
It's more of an emotional reading though.
Yeah.
yeah, but like
It's an
I don't know how to
it's
put
a empath kind of thing.
yeah. Like verbal cues are both emotional and logical. If we want to put it that way. Like the logicalness is like this is definitely that person's will. They thought it over, and the emotional element is like tone and stuff. What I was alluding to before.
Yeah.
Like things like body language. That's all emotional, right?
Some people, like manipulative people and liars,
Mhm.
compulsive liars, are able to use their body language if they're aware of it. If they're like usually self-conscious people,
Yeah.
develop a way of putting on very good facades because they're so conscious of themselves.
Mhm.
They could manufacture their body language. But other people, very genuine people, it's the same thing. That's why it's like...
It's easier to tell off of genuine people, like, what they're thinking.
Well, yeah. What I'm saying is there's genuine people, and then there's people that put genuine seeming facades, which is, like, that's hard to differ.
Oh, yeah, they, like, manipulate those nonverbal cues.
Like, they understand the body language, and they exploit it by using their understanding of it. So, like, you know, like the default, if a man covers his genitals, like, in any way, that's supposed to be sort of like a retreat, a defensive thing. So, like, right now I'm like this with Ian. I cannot get any more open to Ian. It's because I'm very open
That's a good
to Ian.
thing.
It's a good
He's
thing.
facing
You're
Ian
too
right
open,
now.
sir.
I'm too open?
Please.
Okay, so I'm not going to get less open. What I'm saying, as an example, like, what I just, like, this is me, like,
He's crossing his legs right
I
now.
kind of got a little bit defensive.
I guess.
Crossing my legs, my hand's like kind of over here. Like, you see, this is not natural
Yeah,
at all.
yeah, I see
but there are
that.
natural ways in doing it that...
It's gonna turn into what is that really famous movie where the lady's getting interrogated and the next thing you know, like, okay, you guys don't know movies. I'm not gonna continue this conversation.
I might know movies, bro. Just keep talking.
Like, she's getting interrogated and next thing you know, she like unwraps her legs and she's not wearing anything underneath her dress. Do you know what movie I'm talking about?
No.
It's like an old scene. I've never seen the movie. I just know about that movie scene.
I think I know what you're talking about. I don't remember.
Because it gets referenced all the time. So my paranoia.
Why'd you bring that up?
Because that's like a person being manipulative with their body language.
Because he was
That's
thinking,
not body language. That's just her showing off her cooch.
he was thinking about tight blouses and, you know, the natural...
Oh, I
Oh
see.
my
I was
God.
listening in to his thought
Okay,
process.
okay. Well, thanks.
Ian gets me.
I turned it off.
And I know you were going to, like, get into your own paranoia, but I kind of want to, like, branch off of this, because, like, there's another thing that's, like, somewhat related, where we talked about this, like, if people can actually, like, read your mind, but they're not acknowledging it. Like, I don't want to get into, like, simulation type of deal, but, like, if there are, like, secrets or things that, like, about your life that people are aware of, but, like, everyone's aware of but yourself, but they don't acknowledge it, like, it's almost like...
The Truman Show.
It's like if I was, like, really self-conscious and I thought, like, nobody liked me, but, like, no one acts like they don't like me. But, like, I have that idea that, like, people, they all, like, know, like, oh, they don't like me, so they, like, put on this facade that they do.
like you.
Yeah.
So, like, what
But,
we
like,
do
they're
with
all in on it, but there's no way for me to know how they truly feel.
No, yeah, because you're trapped here.
I mean, that's like, there's a lot of social norms that like kind of trap us in general. Now that I brought it up, I can't think of an example, which is
I don't know. The paranoia of, like, just never truly knowing what other people are thinking or feeling.
the
And
simplest.
it's true. That's a genuine thing, because you can never truly know. You'll
Yeah.
never truly, but it's like, if you can't get over that, it's a very unhealthy human thing.
Oh, yeah, to think like that,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that can't be good for
It
you.
isn't, because like base human relationships rely on trust.
Yeah. The simplest example of that is someone saying sorry. Like, are they really sorry? Or, like, you know what I mean?
Well,
I get what
Some
sometimes-
people just say it just to say
I get
it.
the thing where it's like I try to say sorry to people and I just feel like they don't believe me. And it's like I have to like...
Yeah.
But I feel like trying to make myself look more like genuine to it, just make myself look even like...
Well, it's because sometimes, like, to be sorry, or to, like, a lot of people have never experienced the concept of not being forgiven. You know?
Yeah.
Because what you're saying when you say sorry is just like, I'm sorry. You're admitting. It's an admitting of your shortcoming
Or fault.
or fault. And there's also, it's not just the admit or acknowledgement, it's the saying, it's like, I'm sorry about it. And
But-
the reason why people don't believe it sometimes is because some people have never seen that, like, I don't forgive you. So in life, they've never experienced genuine forgiveness. Because they've always just said, sorry. Sorry is like a magic word now.
Yeah, you say sorry and then, like, you
It's
could,
okay.
like, not be sorry, but it doesn't matter anymore. You
Yeah,
moved
I
on.
said sorry. So there's a lack of genuineness. So I feel like,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not what you're experiencing, but maybe some people have known people that do that.
Yeah.
They have a higher standard of what their forgiveness warrants. It's like a stand, because it is to a degree. It's like the value of a person. They believe they deserve something, and that's what determines whether they forgive it or something or not.
We're going to a very moral place here. Like, sorry is such a common word. I feel like, and people have already talked about this before, that the meaning has lost itself throughout the ages. Like, you bump into a person, you say sorry. I feel like there should be a word that, like, takes all of that, all those frivolous sorries, and just, like, you know what I mean? There should be, as one of our friends would say, a tier list for sorries.
I see what you mean, but you see,
I don't,
That's-
because I don't agree with the tier list thing. But the rest of it, I agree with the sentiment.
but that's part of what I like about the English language, because it's not just sorry that we fall into that rut with. Love.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
It's like, I could love a hamburger.
We should create a word.
And
man.
I love Ian. I love my girlfriend.
But in
I love
different
my mother.
contexts.
And I love all these things, but they're different kinds of loves, but it's all, I love that. But like,
You use an adjective with
and
love,
that's where
though.
like things like poetry and like written language and verbal language, like, you know, just like the expression of how we do it. That's where like the magic comes, because you're using the same words, but you get different evocations of it.
Yeah. When you qualify a word like sorry or love, you generally get a better response by people. So it's like, if I were to say my love for Ian, because we're showing Ian all the love, it'd be like...
Dude, if you don't, I'm firing you, so...
it'd be like something along the lines of like, his love to me is brotherly, in a sense. Like, that's my adjective. It's brotherly love that I
His
have
love
towards
is
Ian.
motherly from me.
What?
What?
That would really do it. And my love for Manny is equivalent to hate.
You see, here's a reference. You see that episode of Black Mirror?
No. Damn, I don't watch shows.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Ian watches plenty of shows.
It's like that episode of Black
Do
Mirror
I?
where they just everyone has like these computers in their brains and eyes, and you could block people. Literally block a person.
I feel like that
And if you
would
look at
end
them,
up bad.
It's just like you don't see any features. You see like a blur, and if they speak to you, it's just like muffled, like you can't understand what
There's
they're
so
saying. They
much
literally
stuff
block
wrong
people.
with that.
That's so weird.
Yeah,
There's so much stuff wrong.
and it's actually like tragic. Like there's, I think, the Christmas episode of Black Mirror
It's tragic.
is absolutely tragic, but it's amazing. Like, it was an amazing storytelling.
That could
I
be a,
recommend it. We are not sponsored by Black Mirror, but feel free to throw us like a free toaster or something. Black Mirror.
Do you need a toaster? Why are you asking for a toaster in specific?
Are you gonna say no to a toaster?
I mean, I won't say no to free anything. Except
Would
for
you
like,
say no to free shit? I mean, I guess I could use that for manure, so honestly, I wouldn't eat it.
I don't know, man.
Okay, so as we were saying,
Mind reading.
Yeah, or someone else get onto theirs.
you know what I'm
Because
paranoid
I've shared a
of?
good amount. Yeah.
Like the ocean.
Oh, yeah, we
What?
talked about this.
The ocean.
Okay, you gotta
Like the
explain.
deep ocean.
Okay, like it's like the deep ocean is very scary to me. But like I find that the fear could start like at like a shore. Like let's say like I'm at a beach and it's not a clear water. I can't see my feet anymore.
Uh-huh.
I will be a little bit worried.
Uh-huh.
Is that a fear or a paranoia, though? Like,
Where is the line drawn?
So-
I guess it's like of the fear is that I'm paranoid of what's beneath me.
is that like the correct
I don't know.
phrasing of that?
Is
Like,
it-
I don't know.
Does
I'm
it,
paranoid of the fear.
Does it have anything to do with the expansiveness of the ocean?
To a degree.
So for me,
I'm paranoid about what dwells in there.
I get
Or is
afraid
that
of
just I'm afraid
space.
of what dwells in there.
Is there a
I
difference?
feel like
Am
maybe,
I just- am
maybe
I just
paranoia
having-
is like it changes the way you act, maybe.
Well, I guess I
In a
am
sense.
I do go in the water. I don't let it stop me sometimes, but sometimes like it does. I like get more frightened if something were to touch me in the water than if like a scuba diver would. You know, so I guess to a degree, I'm affected by it, but like I'm not. So I guess I'm slightly paranoid of the ocean. But if I was in like the middle of like the Pacific, I'm gonna freak out.
Yeah, like if you don't see anything in any like of your directions, like if I
Like,
see
no,
an island
it's
in
not
your
like
distance-
around. Well, that's scary.
But, like,
its
yeah.
own. That's scary in like a survival. Like I'm gonna drown because I can't survive. Like I'm not gonna be able to swim for this long. But like, I could see an island in the distance, but I would be afraid because if I don't know what's beneath me and I know how much space there is.
Yeah.
So I guess that could be a paranoia.
Yeah. Well, it's like I have a similar thing. Like,
I feel like
we talked about this
We
like,
were playing
the other
Sea of
day.
Thieves, yeah. And I get it activated. I looked down and I could see like even though it's like a video game, I'm sure there's like the box at the distance only goes so far. I could see like the shape of like a shadow of like there's an island nearby, so you could see like the rock going, and I could just see it's like go, and I see it stop, and that kind of like woke it up a little bit. Like that, like genuinely, just like elicited a tiny bit of fear out of me.
It's the fact that like it's almost it like goes along with that fear of the unknown almost, where like there's plenty of the ocean that we haven't like discovered yet,
Yeah.
or like haven't explored. The fact that it's like infinite possibilities. I'm not saying it's like 50-50 like Schrodinger's cat, but like it's the fact that anything could exist because we don't know what's true or not.
That's why I'm afraid of the space. The space. I'm afraid of space in general.
Yeah, it's a similar concept.
It's like, for me, it's the combination between not knowing what's out in space and the sheer size of how much nothingness exists in this world. Like, the ocean, we know there's stuff, and there's water all around us, but, like, space, you could just float to, like, the end of your lifetime. Like, you could be a baby in space and keep floating on till, like,
You're gonna
dead.
die if you put a baby in space.
That's true. But, like, you know what I'm trying to say.
Do you mean like the size of it?
You could live a lifetime in space and not meet anything
And like while floating.
while floating. Just not meet anything.
Assuming you're getting like sustenance from like
Yeah.
Just
So
like,
you're
like a little shuttle
so-
or something.
in short, like you could just float for like 100 years.
And not even hit anything.
That's
You
true.
could float for 1,000,000 years. And
Yeah.
It's exponential.
No, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's like another like fear/paranoia of mine, like the concept of light years, of like that distance being like
It's
impossible to travel like
Yeah.
with currently.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact, like I don't know, it's just like the fact that you have these limitations on like what you can know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's like people always like, you know, there's the whole like all these tragedies about immortality and all that. It's like deep down I kind of wish all humans could just attain a little bit longer lives. Because I those kind of limitations I don't want to see. I'm so interested by space, and I'm interested by the ocean by as much I'm spooked by it. But it's like that just means I want to be alive to see these mysteries solved. So it's like when are we gonna get the AI or these things I could download my consciousness into, so I could just be a flesh robot, be a cyborg.
Well, you've got like 6 years left, so
6 years?
what?
Do you know what Roko's basilisk is?
What now?
I can't explain it to you well enough, but it's a curse. I just damned all of you. Do not look it up. If you look it up, you will die.
Next time on the Four-Sided Roundtable.
When AIM was a thing, my sister had like a notification that like whenever one of her friends would message her, a baby would laugh.
What?
Why?
It was the most terrifying thing I've ever experienced.
Like elves in Iceland? Those could be friendly.
Elves. And my mom's like, go upstairs and get the holy water. And she's like, I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, holy water.
That escalated very quickly. I don't mind Big Bang Theory as a show.
No!